two-part. Whether you're live with me right now or catching this on the replay, here is where we are. 2 weeks ago, we started becoming her. Tonight, we build her business. But here, please hear me. We are not from where you are. We are building from who you are becoming. The old you does not get to make this plan tonight. Let's take a breath and let's begin. The order matters, right? Started with release it and dream it. Last week, you released what wasn't working. You audited the first half of the year and you decided who you are becoming. Tonight, we build. We dream it first, then build it always. Because a plan built by the old identity just recreates the old results. So tonight, her goals, her standards, she is holding the pen. So I want you to take a deep breath in, release all of the struggles that happened today. Release everything that has been going on. Suck in all of the day, the overwhelm. Keep the positive. Keep the positive, and we're gonna suck it all in, and we're gonna release. And I want you to set your mindset to who you built last week. We're not coming in from the person you are currently. We're coming at it from the person we built last week. And what do I mean by that? We homework, right? I am the woman who. So before we dive in, let's anchor her back in the room. So if you want to share your I am the woman who statement, one line of it in the chat or out loud, present tense, like it's already true. Because tonight she's holding. And if you're on the replay and you did part one, if not, go back and watch one. Drop yours in the comments. Let me know. If you haven't met her yet, pause and go watch part one first. Night only works if you've met her. This is a 3-part series, and each part combines with the last one to make the full series. And so I want to let you know. I want you to know. Let me see. I heard a little plink. Let's see. What do we got? Where's my little chat? Did you put that in the chat?
No, I can't find the chat on my phone, but I can say it out loud.
Okay.
I am the woman who is decisive.
Oh, yes. I love that. I love that. How do you feel when you say that?
It feels a bit empowering, not something I could have said about myself before, and to say that in the present tense feels good.
Yes. Same. Congratulations. That's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. All right. For Kima and Renee, who was on last week, I had asked you at the end of last week, what were you hoping for this week? And I built tonight with you in mind. Renee, pattern. And that's exactly where we're headed. We don't just name the pattern tonight. We build the structure that interrupts it. A pattern doesn't break by trying harder. It breaks by building something different around it. Kima, you wanted to be in the place for pitching, taking the steps forward. Tonight, you walk out with the exact plan. Your one lane, your pitch activity, and the daily number that gets you moving instead of waiting to feel ready. We're making a pitching system, not a someday. So I'm ready to dive in. So we're going to talk about the real work. Mindset isn't the warm up, it's the strategy. Before we touch a single strategy, this took me 7 years to learn. 7 years. I have to talk about the thing that quietly kills every plan in this room. I have watched it over and over and over and over and over. I have worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs. I have seen this silently kill so many, and that is mindset. And stay with me. This is the part most people skip, and it's the part that decides everything. So I have to ask, before I say any of this was a big aha moment for me. I've had mentors ask me this, and it's something that I really need to get back into the practice of because it is so important to open up yourself to being coached. And I need a real answer in the chat or out loud. Are you open to being coached right now? What I'm about to say will step on some toes. I stepped on mine when I first heard it. My ego wanted to come out. I wanted to get defensive. And so there's a version of you that's going to get defensive. They'll start explaining why your situation is different. And you sat her down for the next 50 minutes. And here's why it matters more than any strategy tonight. Coachability is the single highest predictor of who wins. Not talent, not money, not your following. How you handle being coached is exactly how you handle everything. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything. So drop a yes in the chat if you are open to being coached, or come off mute and let me know. Yeah, I see you shaking your head. My computer is slow. This is from love. So I want everything that comes at you tonight from a place of love. I would not be doing my due diligence as a person who helps anyone if I don't say the hard things sometimes. So from love, not judgment. Your mindset is not a nice to have. It's not the soft, optional, we get to it later part. It is the part. When your mindset isn't where it needs to be, your self-sabotage, you will self-sabotage every single time. You'll have the plan and not work it. Start and quietly quit. Keep it small and call it strategy. I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs over 7 years. I've watched this exact cycle take person after person. That's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I need mindset first. Like we need to do this. They stopped telling themselves the stories before the stories took them out. The mindset isn't the warm up before the real work. It is the real work. And that is why we're diving into this. So both of those what the heck? This is when you edit too much. It dug out my whole conversation. My gosh. Okay, hang on. I want you to have this part because it is so important. What the heck? It took out my whole. Okay, this is why we hang on. We're getting it up because I need to read these to you. It's so important, and that's crazy. I've worked on this for like the last 3 hours, and then this final revision. I glanced over it and I'm like, it took out the whole good part and the revised revision thing. And then I made my, okay. And that's okay. We adapt, we pivot because I'm going to pull it out. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I'm excited about this. Okay. Before we now lock these plans into the calendar, I have to talk about the thing that will quietly kill every plan in the room if we let it. And I can only teach this because I lived it. This belief kept me small for years. So I know it intimately. And I want to be honest with you about why I'm only teaching this tonight. Because I had 2 conversations today that I have not been able to stop thinking about all day. 2 different women, 2 sentences, and I recognized both of them immediately because they came out of my own mouth for years. I have said these exact things to myself so many times. I have stood where they're standing. So I sat with it today. Like I said, I've been thinking about this for since we had our co-working session today. And I had to, in the moment, I had a thought and I'm like, okay, there's so much to unpack here. And I had to keep a lot back because I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to help people through these thoughts. Because if one person's having it, I know other people are having it because I've had these thoughts too. And here's the other reason why I want to speak this so loudly right now. And we've talked about this. I have worked with so many people and these cycles and these things are what stop so many entrepreneurs. And so if I can figure out a way of dissecting and teaching and having conversations around the hard things that people are really thinking about, then that's my job as a mentor and a coach and someone who really helps people with accountability. Because to help someone with accountability and hitting their goals, it's not just hey, here's what are you working on? Where are the due dates? It's removing the roadblocks and the stories we tell ourselves and the limiting beliefs we say and the thoughts that are up here and reframing them so that we can move through those. And so I had to really figure out, okay, how can I add this in? How can I tie this in? Because the self-fulfilling prophecy is something that plagues so many of us. It plagues so many of us. Okay, so here's a definition A self-fulfilling prophecy, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes, is when you predict an outcome and then without realizing it, you behave in a way that makes that outcome come true. You don't fail because the thing doesn't work. You fail because some part of you decided it wouldn't and then you acted accordingly. And then you pointed at the result and said, see, I was right. Let me know if you've been there. Let me know if you've been there. You were right. You just rigged it. And this is something that I have gone through myself many of times. So, one conversation I had today was with a brilliant woman. She tells me that she wants to run a series of workshops. I say, great, love it. And in the same breath, she says, but if no one shows up, I'll just use it as content. And I'm not really going to promote it. I'm just going to keep it small. And I had to love her too. Oh, wait, hang on. Someone's trying to come in. You liking the story so far? I know you are. Okay. And I had to love her enough to really have a conversation with her. And so I said, if you don't promote it, you will keep it small. That's not a risk. That's a guarantee you just wrote for yourself. And I want you to hear me clearly because there's a fork here. Most people miss it. There are two completely valid reasons to do something in business. You're doing it for content or you're doing it to convert. Both are legitimate. You need both. But if you have to know which one you're choosing because they require completely different effort. If it's content, great, do it, repurpose, build your library, put it on YouTube, but do not dress it up a convert to goal in content close so that when it doesn't convert, you have an excuse preloaded. That's the trap. You said it's just content before you started so that no outcome could hurt you. But here's what that protection actually costs. It guarantees the small result. And that it lets you tell yourself you did something. You didn't do the thing. You did the bare minimum version of the thing that lets you avoid the feeling of trying and falling short. Now, I know that that can come off. So I want you to think back to when we first started and I said, are you willing to be coachable? Are we putting down our defenses? Remember the moment? Remember, I asked you, are you going to be coachable? Are you willing to hear feedback that sometimes is the tough love that we need to hear? So if you're just doing a LinkedIn event or an event on Facebook and posting once or twice a month, that is not a promotion. That is doing just enough to check the box in your own mind and your nervous system knows the difference between checking a box and going all in. I know this because the day I stopped half doing the things, the day I actually went all in on something, I promoted like I believed in it. I showed up like it mattered. That's when I saw the real momentum. Not a little, huge for me. The momentum was always on the other side of all in. I just kept stopping at, I technically did something. So the question for your plan tonight is not what's the safe version. It's am I building this to be small or am I building this to grow? And if it's to grow, then we promote it like we mean it. As you see, you don't fail, you rig it, right? You predict the outcome, you behave to match it, you get the result. You say, see, I was right. And then we're made to be repurposed or are we made to make money? And so does that make sense? Like, does that make sense? Let me know. Okay. And so here's the thing that I really want to focus on when we are keeping it small. It's not laziness. It's literally biology. Your nervous system has one job. Keep you safe. It needs to keep you safe, right? And safe means familiar. Even when familiar is broke and stuck and small, your body would rather keep you safe than risk the unknown because unknown registers danger. Remember the fly on the window from last week? Here's the deeper truth. Hitting the same window feels safer to it than turning toward the open door because the window is what is known. The door is unfamiliar and unfamiliar feels like death even when it's freedom. We do the same. We bang the familiar window because the wide open door of going all in feels so terrifying, but the door was always the way out. So how do we actually change a pattern? You don't wait to feel ready and then act. You act as her on purpose while it's uncomfortable again and again and again and again and again and again and again. until your nervous system updates and she becomes the new familiar. You make the bold move enough times that the bold stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like home. That's how the pattern breaks. Not by trying harder inside of it, but by building a new normal around it. So when going all in feels scary tonight, the discomfort isn't a stop sign. It's the proof you're growing. So I want to name something sneaky because it sounds spiritual. You've heard from detach from the outcome. We've talked about this on many occasions. Good principle, but watch how your ego can twist it. And let me know if you thought this before. When you keep it small and do the bare minimum, you think you're detaching from the outcome. You're not. You're detaching from the effort. You're detaching from the effort. You're detaching from the effort so the outcome can't hurt you. Well, that's it. You're detaching from the effort so the outcome can't hurt you. Let me look. Does that make sense? Okay. 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 The real fear is if I go all in and it still doesn't work, then I'm the failure. So you don't detach from the effort. You go all in on the effort. What you detach from is your worth being tied to that result. And detaching doesn't mean you don't feel the sting. You will. I'm not going to lie to you. It will hurt. It will hurt. It just means you feel it and you don't obey it. We have feelings that come up all the time and we just acknowledge it and say, hey, I'm not her anymore. And we let it go on by. But we're gonna dive deeper into this because I already know what you're thinking. I already know you got some things up there. Yeah, but I know you got an yeah, but in your head right now. Let me know. Do you have a yeah, but in your head? I got you. It just means you feel it and you don't obey it. The feeling can visit. It can't make your decisions for you. And I can say don't tie your result all day, right? But that's useless unless I tell you how. How can you do that? You can change what the results means. Here's what I mean by that. A result is never a verdict on your worth. Because look at, I have sent out emails. I've put this on YouTube. I have 2 people on here right now. Does that mean I suck at what I'm doing? Does that make me bad? Do I tie my worth to no one showing up or doing the things? No, I just feel sorry for the people who don't come on. Because I know that this 3-part series changes businesses. How do I know that? Let me tell you. I have completely changed my life using this information, first and foremost. Secondly, I have worked with many mentors from $5,000 to $35,000, and they have helped me all in little pieces, help me create this plan that I have put together. Well, all of the pieces I put together into this plan. I've also seen multi-million dollar businesses on the back end teach not these same exact steps in the same exact order, but I know that these are the things that make millionaires. And for anyone who doesn't show up for this is not on me. I'm not bad. I don't take it personally anymore. Why? Because I have done this repeatedly over and 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 over again, right? So my system is used to it. But that doesn't mean the last 7 years have been easy. That doesn't mean that the last 7 years are anything but just getting my nervous system ready for where I'm at. So it's a feedback. A result is never a verdict on your worth. It's feedback on a skill. A skill. We aren't born knowing how to market, sell, or fulfill. We're not born knowing how to build a business. It's a skill that we have to learn. Everything in business is a skill. Marketing, selling, a conversation that closes, a post that stops the scroll. Nobody's born knowing these things. Think of a baby learning to walk. She wobbles and falls thousands of times. And not once does she think walking isn't for me. I am bad because I don't know how to walk. Could you imagine if that's how we felt when we were babies learning how to walk? She knows that falling is the walking. So when something doesn't work, ask a different question. Not what's wrong with me. That just makes you hide. Instead, what skill is this asking me to build? It's not reps alone. It's adjusted reps. After every rep, ask, what do I need to adjust? After every rep, ask, what do I need to adjust. So I have two conversations. I know Kima hopped on. I'm talking about our conversations today. And the one conversation I had was marketing just isn't really for my business. And I want to say that she was half right. And the half that right makes the wrong half sticky. So let's dive into this. Here's an absolute. And there are few in businesses. Few. You have to have eyeballs. The person with the most eyeballs in business wins. No eyeballs, no conversations, no sales, no business. So marketing isn't for me. So marketing isn't for me. Is not a preference. It's the limiting belief in a strategy costume. So let me dive into this. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You don't get to opt out of eyeballs. You only choose how you get them. And it was never marketing or outreach. It's a 1-2 punch. Marketing on the front end, conversations on the back end. When you do outreach and that person looks you up, what do they find? Your marketing. It all works, but you have to work it. And why am I talking about this? Because tonight we are going to dive into our Build It plan, our Q3 plan. This is a 3-part series on how to set up our Q3 for success, on the things that we need to work on. And so when I'm thinking about, okay, tonight is build it. And if I go straight strategy and tactics, and these are the conversations that I've personally have had with myself, I've had with clients, I've had with other people, and these limiting beliefs on these stories that we tell ourselves and why we can't do anything or why this won't work for me is those things that stop us from the greatness that we need to do. And so that is so important. This is why I said at the beginning is that you have to have the mindset before you have the strategy, before you have the tactics, before you have anything. Because if you are putting on, this is why we did release and dream it. We have to be able to visualize and install this new identity. We have to have these reps. So they all work in tandem. They all work together. And that is why when something hits me, I'm like, okay, I know so many more people have these thoughts, are having these thoughts. I've had these thoughts and I've had to work through them. So I really was thinking today, like, man, I have thought this thought before. I've thought the other thought before, the one that we just went through, and this one. And so it's like, how did I get out of that? How did I change the way I approach things or the way I thought of things? And that is why we're talking about this. So now I have to talk to a different person because I'm talking to the person who plays small and I'm also talking to the person who is big. So we've talked to the people who are thinking in their mind, oh man, the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? These are the things that we're telling ourselves, like this doesn't work or that can't work or this isn't for me. These are all the stories that we're telling ourselves. Now, next, the other person I'm talking to is the person that is doing too much. She's out there doing too much. So some of you do too much. The funnels, the podcast, 3 platforms, all of the things, new offers every other day, all of the freebies. You're booked and you're busy and you still can't hit the income. Here's why. Scattered effort doesn't add up. Scattered effort doesn't add up. It cancels it out. Here's what I mean by that. 12 things halfway isn't 12 halfway results. 12 things halfway isn't halfway results. It's 12 things that never get finished. Think of a hose. Wide open, water dribbles down everywhere and moves nothing. Thumb over it, thumb over the stream, narrow the stream, and it cuts. You pushes things, right? You have to have the effort. You have to have focus effort. Same water, same pressure. The only difference is the focus. You don't rise to the next level by adding more. You rise by subtracting everything that isn't the one thing that is aligned. And this is all going to come together at the end because we're going to work on what is our one focus for Q3. You rise by subtracting everything that isn't that one thing. Aligned effort is 3 things: aligned, effort, and sustained. So aligned is pointed at your real bottleneck, not the comfortable task. Effort, real focused reps daily, not a token gesture. Sustained, longer than you think. Y'all, it takes so much more effort and longer than you think it will take. Can 100% guarantee that. So one question holds this whole night together. I'm going to ask you guys right now. And I want you to run every decision through it in quarter 3. Is this getting me closer to my result or further away from it? That's it. Before you do the task, post the thing, take the meeting, scroll on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or wherever your guilty pleasure is. Say yes, say no. Is it getting you closer to the Q3 goal or further away? Because the same 365 days are going to pass whether you do the work or you don't. December is coming either way. The only variable is whether you spent your days moving toward the results or away from it. Most of what keeps us small isn't dramatic. It's 100 small daily choices that felt neutral but pointed away. From tonight on, nothing is neutral. Every choice is a vote. Am I closer or further away than what I said? And I say all of this to say, I started with the mindset and not the strategy on purpose, because what I'm here to do is transform you, not hand you tactics. After 7 years, I know if I only give you strategy and skip the transformation of who you are and why you show up and the why behind the how, it won't work. You'll take the best marketing plan in the world and self-sabotage it. So carry this out even if you forget everything else. What got you here will not get you there. The version of you that built what you have currently right now is not the version of you that gets you to the next level of what you want to have. That is why we took the time last week and really thought about who is that person? How do they show up? How do I get my reps in? How do I work through and become comfortable? How do I get my nervous system? That is why they all work hand in hand. Because if she could get you there, you would already be there. And that's the hard truth that I really had personally to swallow. And that's not an insult. That's the assignment. The transformation is the strategy. You cannot, I was the person. I had all of the excuses. I had all of the why I can't. I had all of the this will work for you, but not for me and it kept me playing so small. It made me give up my business. It made me stop. It made me do so many things. And that is why it's so important, because I have to flex a little bit. I have been in the game for 7 years. And literally, I've seen so many people start and stop and quit. Now, am I where I want to be? No, but I went from not living in a house I shared with my brother to I have hit so many goals. So I'm not saying this out of just because I want to hear myself talk. These are the things that I have had. I wish I would have known what I was doing in the process of doing it. Now I kind of know what I'm doing and why. And so now I'm putting the fuel in the fire to amplify it. So now from that foundation, let's get into the actual machine of your business. So now, as a woman you're becoming, let's get into the actual machine. So now that you're someone who can actually run it. Do you have your sticky notes? Do you have your notepad? Because we're about to build. Okay. 2 reasons your past plans died, and neither one is laziness. Reason 1, annual thinking. This year I'm going to have 0 urgency in the middle of the year. That's why we're doing this June reset, getting ready for quarter 3. Your brain can't feel a deadline 6 months away. Your brain can't feel a deadline 6 months away. So we run quarters like the 12-week year teaches. I've talked about this before. Every quarter is its own year, and we're about to get into a new one. Happy New Year. It's your own year. 13 weeks, close enough to feel real, long enough to build something real. And the quantum leap twist that I want you to have, you get 4 becomings a year. How amazing is that? 4 new becomings. Most people give themselves one shot every January and wait 11 months for permission to try again. If that's you, let me know before. And that's the poverty mindset applied to time. That's the poverty mindset applied to time. Reason 2, with love. This is a tough love. This is a very tough love teaching. And this is the thing that I had to get real with. I had to really sit today and be like, I truly want to make an impact. I want to change lives. I want people to actually do the thing. I want people to get the result. And I would be doing you guys a disservice if I did not come at it with that, because the tough love moments for me were the moments that changed everything for me. So you've been setting goals you secretly don't believe. Let me know if that's you. Let me know. You've secretly been setting goals you don't believe. A goal you don't believe is not a goal. It's a wish wearing a costume. Tonight, everything passes the honesty test. So put your sticky notes out or your notebook or whatever. Find a wall, a door, a big piece of paper, but it lives somewhere you see it every single day, not in an app, on a wall where you work. Your eyes need to trip over your future daily. Step one, the center note, the headline of your second half, present tense like it's done. Put your big goal, 7-figure year, 6-figure year, 10K months by the end of the quarter, 5K, like what is that big year? Are you fully booked? You have your first client, whatever that big thing is that you want to have by the end of the year. Step two, your branches, 4 to 6 category notes, the areas of your business and life that have to transform for the center to be true. Offers and revenue, marketing, systems, health, family, faith. 4 to 6, no more. I'll give you all a moment to write those out. And then under step 3, under each of those categories, I want you to write 2 or 3 needle mover notes. What has to be true for the center to happen? Not 50 tasks. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to get that done. So the center, the headline, this is the second half of the year. This is what we're doing. 4 to 6 categories that you must transform for the center to be true, and then 2 to 3 needle movers in there. Okay. I know we're getting towards the end, so I'm gonna just move through it, but this will be uploaded onto YouTube, so you will get access to it. And then next week, I want to see your branches and everything that you've come up with. So here's where I want you to save your quarter. You are not doing the whole map in 13 weeks. Look at every branch and ask which one of these, if in the next 13 weeks, would make the big domino that would make everything else easier or unnecessary. Russell Brunson teaches this as the big domino effect. So what's that one big domino that if you did this, and knock all the other dominoes out or make them unnecessary? Circle it. Circle the one thing. That's your quarter 3. And it has to pass these 3 tests. We don't move on it until it does. The honesty test, scale of 1 to 10. How much do you actually believe you can hit this in 13 weeks? Below a 7, resize it right now. I'd rather you hit a goal than perform an impressive one. The identity test. Does the woman at the center of your map chase this goal, or is it your old self's goal in her clothes? The measurement test. On September 30th, will you know without debate whether you hit it? So now the framework that my husband and I have built, and we build every business on, this is how we teach. This is the freedom funnel. And we've taught it before over the last few years. You may know it or you may not. And if you don't, then I'm glad we're teaching it again. And every business in any industry, any size, has 3 core components of their business: marketing, selling, fulfillment. Can't have a business without those 3 things. Marketing is how people find out you exist, attention, eyeballs. Selling is how those people become paying clients. Fulfillment is how you deliver the results that they paid for. And they feed each other in order. Marketing feeds selling, selling feeds fulfillment. Fulfillment creates happy clients and referrals that feed your marketing again. When all 3 flow of them, you have the freedom. And here's why it matters tonight. Because there are only 3 parts in your business. Your problem is always in one of these 3 things. You're not failing at business. You have a bottleneck in one specific place. And I really want this reframe, because we internalize business is going to be the biggest personal development thing that you go through. I have not found an entrepreneur yet that doesn't think the same thing. And so we have to stop internalizing that my business is not succeeding because I'm a failure. And that's why I'm teaching you all these things, to help you reframe and reassess. And we have to just think of it as, I have a bottleneck in this one specific place, because you're always going to have a bottleneck. There's always going to be a cap in your business that you fall at, or that I've heard people describe it as, Mortal Kombat, or like a game where you have the bosses and you have to beat the boss, and that where you're stuck is that one boss, and then you get to the next one, and then you get to the next one, and you always have to up level. One of my mentors, Myron Golden, he has described it as a building, and you have to master each level before you get to the next. And so the bottleneck is that one thing that we have to level or learn and master that skill before we can move on to the next one. So however it works for you to reframe it and to really take it off of you, because all businesses work this way. I have not met a business that has not worked this way. It's not you. It's just how business works. So a bottleneck is the narrow part of the bottle where everything backs up behind it. Incredible marketing, but selling is the bottleneck. The attention leaks out and never becomes money. So let's say you have 100 people that looked at your offer. Well, then that's not, I would still say it's a marketing problem, but you probably have maybe a sales process issue. If you have 0 people that looked at your offer or have 0 conversations, well, then you have an attention and marketing problem. So we need to figure out, and then if you have people that are charging back or churn or don't want to rebuy, well, then we have a fulfillment issue. And so we need to figure out and be real with ourselves on which is the problem that we need to solve. Because if selling is the bottleneck, the attention leaks out and never becomes money. Great closer, but marketing is the bottleneck. No one to sell to. Both working, but fulfillment is the bottleneck. You're drowning. You can't grow without breaking. Find the narrow part. That's the whole job tonight. That is what we're going to do. The overwhelm disappears the second you realize you're not fixing everything. We're not fixing everything. We're fixing this one thing in these next quarter. So how do we find the bottleneck? It's not by guessing. We're not going to do that. Or by what feels urgent with, guess what? My favorite word. Can you guess it? Let me know. Let me know. Data. This is where last week audit pays off. We're going to be making data-driven decisions, not drama-driven decisions. I've been there. I've done that. So I want you to pull your audit and answer honestly with real numbers. Marketing check. How many new people entered your world in the last 90 days? And you don't have to do this right now, but this is going to be homework by next one, by part 3. How many people have entered your world in the last 90 days? I want you to check your selling. Of those who found you, how many became clients and bought? If 100 people know your offer and 1 bought, that's a selling bottleneck, not marketing. More eyeballs won't fix a leaky close. Fulfillment check. Are you at capacity? Could you handle more tomorrow, or would it you break? The first place the data says you're weak or maxed out, that's your bottleneck. The data chooses it, not your mood, not your emotions, not what you think. And this is a huge reframe I had to do personally. I was so emotional. I was so I would like remove myself for 3 months at a time back in like 2020. You would not have recognized me now to who I was then. I let everything feel like a personal attack, and we can't do that. We have to look at the numbers. I had to, guess what? Guess what I had to do? I had to retrain my nervous system over and over and over again to make it feel safe. And when we are ignoring it or making excuses or not doing the work that helps train our nervous system, is never going to change. It is never going to change. And I have to be fully honest about that. 100%. I spent like 4 years going through the same cycle until I figured out how to and I didn't know that's what I was doing, but now I can name it. I can look back and name the changes I made. So marketing, selling aren't 2 separate problems. They're a 1-2 punch locked together. So you're at one of 2 roads in Q3. And it's almost always, road 1, building revenue, not yet making consistent money. The bottleneck is marketing, selling, or both. And it's almost always because they feed each other. So you lock in both. 1 marketing system and 1 sales system. 1 channel, 1 avatar, 1 offer. Master the power of 1 before adding in another. Road 2. Scaling. Money's coming in. You have clients. Marketing and selling are working, but you're capped and you're drowning. The bottleneck is fulfillment. You're systemized, you delegate, you lead. Your business cannot grow past your ability to let go. The splitting question, are you still building revenue or scaling revenue that already exists? Write it down. Write down on your paper. My Q3 road is what? Building revenue or scaling it? And this is a crucial fork. We're not setting an income goal. We're setting a doing goal because we're about to do the work. When you're launching something brand new with no data, you have no data. Let's say you're at 0 or input like the data that you do have. But for my example right now, we have no data. We're at 0. We're relaunching something. Myself, becoming her. I have 0 new data. I have launched out and created new lead magnets and do new things. So I have 0 data. Then you do not set an income goal. A revenue goal with no averages is a number you made up. And that's how we self-sabotage. We're going back into self-sabotage. We're not doing that this year. We're not doing this quarter 3. We're not self-sabotaging. Write it in the chat. We are not self-sabotaging. Instead, we're going to set a doing goal. This is how we're going to reframe and retrain our nervous system. The doing goal, the activity that you can control. When you're brand new, you don't know how many reps makes a result. So your only honest job is to do enough reps to find out. The goal is how many reps, not how much I earn. So if, let's say, your client acquisition is, let's say you want to get people onto a podcast because you want to be able to close X number of clients. Well, our goal for Q3 is not close X clients, but how many interviews can I record? How many calls can I book post interview? Those you can control. Whether they close is data you're gathering, not agreed on you. That's how you detach from the outcome. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, let me see if your faces. Okay, I see you smile. It must make sense. Okay, and so this turns hope into math. So let's say you have cold outreach, LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever you want to have your client acquisition be. So say cold outreach, 100 DMs, maybe 10 respond, maybe you close one. That feels brutal. 99 failures for one client. And that's honestly the real math. If you ask anyone who does cold outreach, it works. It's a numbers game and it's brutal. So I just have to say that you really need to work on getting the nervous system okay for non-responses or like just those things, because cold outreach can be brutal. But once you know that's your number, everything changes. It's detached from you. I know I need to have 100 DM conversations that turn or DM outreaches that then turn into 10 replies. Once you know your math and your averages, that's when you just know, okay, if I'm trying to amplify my business, I do more outreaches. Get more replies. I get more closing. We have to learn our closing average. The 90 who didn't respond aren't rejection. They're math, working as designed. So we have to detach from the outcome that it's my failure, because it's just the law of averages. 100%. You're not going to have everyone respond to you. So you needed them to get the one. You don't know who the one is, right? We don't know who the one is. So we have to have those conversations to be able to get to the one. And that's kind of like the reframe we have to have. We want to get to the no faster. This was in another book we read. I can't remember the book. But you want to get to the no faster so that you can get to the yes. And we have to detach, because you may not be the one, my one client. I may not want to work with you. You may not want to work with me. I don't care. I want to get to the one person that I can help, that I can change their life for. I'm sorry that you missed out, but I want to get to the one person that I can help. And you have to have those conversations. If you have zero conversations, are you getting closer to your goal or further? Again, remember, is this getting me closer to my goal or further away from my goal? So the conversations, and it's always a 1-2 punch. I can tell you, all of the businesses that we work with, they're not just relying on organic marketing. It's not just put content out, it's conversations. They all have setters who have the conversations that DM and qualify them to go into the sales process that then goes into the thing. So if anyone's trying to tell you that they're not having these conversations, that's a lie. I know every high ticket coach is making over $1 million. They have a whole setting team, they have a closing team. And so you are the setter, the closer, all of them in one hat. And so it's not just the marketing and the organic and the things. Those are like for objection handling. Those are for getting people to see you. Those are for when you have a conversation and they're looking at you, they're looking at, oh, they're qualifying you through your content. So they all work together in a system, in a sales process, in a sales cycle. So, and if a client is worth, let's say, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000, every DM, even the ignore ones, was worth $20. You'd send those all day. Knowing your averages turns nobody's responding. This is broken into, I'm 40 DMs into my next client. If you are guaranteed, if I send 100, I guarantee I can get one client. You'd be spending them all day. And that's how it works. If you're outreaching, if you're having conversations, unless you completely screw up and like cuss them out, At some point, someone is going to say yes. But if not, then that's data. And then we can adjust accordingly and transition our conversations. Then what is that? That is a selling issue. We need to know what we need to fix, but we don't do anything. And we just keep thinking about it and over analyzing and overthinking. And our nervous system keeps us in this perpetual cycle that we go through. We're never going to get to the goal that we want to have. So same activity, different person doing it. And it means you stop setting sales goals, and we start setting activity goals. I'm going to reach out to 100 people a day, 50 people a day. I'm going to have 50 conversations. My goal is to have 10 of, you can't even talk about the replies because that's not even on you. All you can think about and all you can do is focus on what can you do? What inputs can you put in to get the output that you need? So we're going to have activity goals for Q3. Hit the activity, and the result is just math catching up. Okay, I'm almost done. Thank you for saying that. I'm sorry, we're going over. Hopefully this is helpful. Now, in ink on your plan, Q3 road is building revenue or scaling. So we know we're building revenue or scaling. If building, my one marketing system is, and my one sales system is. If you're scaling, my one fulfillment focus is. And I will go all in on only this. We talk about focus for 90 days, Q3. Track my numbers and not switch. One clarification so nobody weaponizes against themselves. The 90-day lock-in does not mean never change anything. It means don't change the process. You keep adjusting the execution every week. Don't abandon cold outreach in week 3 because it's hard. It's going to be hard. It's all hard. You have going and getting a job and living that life is hard. Figuring it out, going to work, doing the things, changing up your whole career of what you thought, that's hard. Building a business is hard. We have to choose the hard that we want to do because that's shiny object syndrome. Next week, I'm going to talk about the cycle of change because this is where this all falls into and how we live. But do sharpen your opening message. Maybe you keep sending outreach messages, but maybe you send 10 with this same message and then maybe you switch it up and maybe the next 10 you switch up the message. Maybe you come at it and then people start replying to you and then you're like, oh, that really worked. Let me keep doing that. And then this worked over here. This actually got people to book a call. This is how we craft our message. And you need to sharpen the follow-up. We need to lock the lane. We need to refine the driving. At the end of every month, check the data, closer or not at all. Are we closer? Or are we not closer? How can we adjust for the next month that we're going in? So we're about to lock it in. You found your bottleneck. You've named your road, you've locked your system. Now everything lands in one place. And then it goes on the calendar where wishes becomes decisions. Everything now lands in this one place. Your abundance action map. Corporate calls them KPIs. That's boring. We don't like that. But we call it the abundance action map because that's key. Because what gets measured gets manifested in real life. Layer 1, your Q3 milestone. You circled needle mover. Layer 2, work it backwards. And don't worry, I also have a prompt I'm going to give you guys. 3 monthly milestones. July, August, September. Then 3 weekly targets. Then the 2 to 3 lead actions you fully control. Layer 3, your KPIs, the 2 to 3 numbers that if they move, the milestone has to happen. If 100 DMs equals a client and you want 6 clients, that's 600 a quarter. And it's about average. When you're doing cold outreach, you have to have volume. You have to. Now, when you're marketing, the difference if you're organic marketing and people are coming in, attraction marketing, and you're getting them into your sales pipeline and they're opting into your funnels and you're doing all the follow-up, then that's one thing. Or if you're doing outbound and having conversations, that's a lot of conversations, right? You have to, like, it's a volume game. And that's about 50 a week, about 10 a day. So when you come to accountability, I'm going to be asking you, well, how many messages did you send? 6 clients just became 10 DMs a day. So if you want 6 clients by the end of Q3, we need to do 10 DMs a day. Layer 4, if then every lead action, when I close my laptop after drop off, I record 1 piece of content that roughly doubles follow through and 2 finishing questions. Who, not how. What should not be done by you at all? So once you start getting money in and all of that, then we think about what do I need to let go of. And that subtraction, what 2 to 3 hours a week are you removing to make room? What can AI do? What can automation do? What can a webinar do? What can, there's so many different things that go into that. So I don't want you leaving with just a skeleton. So I want you to drop this into Claude or ChatGPT tonight, and it builds your full map for you. Screenshot this slide. I also have the recording, and I'll put it in the email. So act as my business strategist. I'm building my Q3 90-day abundance action map. My business is, my milestone goal is, my bottleneck is, the one system I'm committing to is, my conversion numbers are, work backwards into 3 monthly milestones. Identify my KPIs and daily numbers, list my weekly lead actions, suggest a realistic time blocking schedule, and flag the one thing most likely to make me self-sabotage. So before we lock it in, an energy check, because two people can run the same action map and get completely different results. Why is that? Desperate action grips. It checks. It forces. It needs this week's post to go viral. Needs this one call to close, or everything falls apart. Desperation repels the very thing it's chasing. You've felt this, you've been this. Inspired action moves like the result is on its way because your money is already looking for you. It has your address. Your only job is to keep walking toward it, not chase it down the street in a panic. So look at your action map, because this is where the law of averages are so important. You know you need it to close. You know you need money. You know you need someone to close. But it doesn't have to be this conversation, because you're going to have another. Don't have to be so desperate on this one conversation, because you're going to have another. Your only job is to keep walking toward it, not chase it down the street in a panic. From desperation, rewrite it from the woman who already knows. Before we lock it in, check your map against everything tonight for to grow. Did I pre-write an excuse? Cross out the safety net. 2, where am I telling myself a story that guarantees the outcome? Name it out loud. Name a belief. A named belief loses its grip on you. Understanding, being aware of it removes that. 3, is my effort aligned, pointed at my real bottleneck, or did I fill the calendar with comfortable tasks? 4, did I name my road and lock my system for 90 days without switching? Now, everybody open your actual calendar right now. Pause this video if you're watching the replay. Take your lead actions and book them as recurring appointments for July. Real-time slots with alerts. A goal on paper is a wish. A goal on the calendar is a decision. So I want you to declare these 3 goals, or these 3 things. My Q3 goal is, the one thing I'm going all in on for 90 days is, I'll track it and be in the room every week until it's done. So I want to land this with the most important thing I know about quantum leaping. The leap doesn't come from working harder inside the old structure. It comes from stepping into a new one. New identity, new rhythm, new room. For 2 weeks, you've been in a new structure. This is the second leap. The only question left is whether you walk back out. You have the plan, the identity, the map. The only variable left for the next 90 days is the room you do it in. Here's what staying looks like inside Automate Your Hustle for the replay. Every Wednesday, this is accountability call, office hours to get unstuck in real time, Friday tech and training calls where we build the automations and follow up inside. That's who, not how handled. We have the 7-figure family book club. We're starting to do the work. The book, I'm Beating Resistance. The link is in the description below. And if you want to be in this room where you have created the plan, but now you want the accountability ongoing to be able to hold yourself accountable and to keep going because you are that consistent person now, well, make sure to click that link and get the 7-day free trial. And next Wednesday, this is part 3 of our 3-part series, is Live It. We take everything we built tonight and make it daily. Your daily method of operations, your when I don't feel like it protocol, the never miss choice rule, and how to disrupt the obstacle when it actually shows up. You'll walk into Q3 already in motion. If you do everything that we have talked about in this 3-part series, you are so much further than a lot of business owners I know. Everyone else is still getting organized, or they're not even really thinking about it. They kind of got off track of their goals. Bring your map, bring your calendar, and we'll see you next Wednesday. The year is not half over. It is half open. Your money is already it's on its way to find you, and now you'll be moving when it arrives. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this training, and we will see you next week. Bye. How was it? I know we're
Good.
way over it.
That's okay.
Huh?
It's all good.
So good? Okay. Did it oh, don't split the difference. I was like, I know what it was. Did it make sense? Was it helpful? Give you any aha moments? Open you any?
I wrote the
Oops.
marketing
So
copy
yeah.
for the workshop series that you told me, why aren't you marketing? There's my
Mhm.
workshops. There's my marketing copy.
And it doesn't matter. It's just data.
Mhm.
But we have to go all in, or it's not worth doing.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
And I did the only thing that it didn't put in my slideshow, which I think is so important, is I really wanted to dive into the selling system that is like, which one are you going to pick? So what I'm going to do, he stayed away for a long time, but here he is. You say that almost all the whole way, but be careful, is the selling system. So, and I'll show you, hey,
Let's put it off.
I know it, I have to fix it. Hang on.
What happened?
I don't want you to drop my candle, Miles. Do so.
What fish it?
So I will put this in, maybe we'll go over it next on Live It.
Mhm.
I'll throw it in there, but I'll just give it to you because you guys are here right now. Where are you? Okay, here it is. So your one marketing channel, and though is like your main one. What are you actively growing? Now you can take from the main thing that you're growing, but don't try to grow everything at the same time. This is like the reframe I had to have of like, well, I can only post one place. No, you want to actively only grow one thing, but that doesn't mean you can't cross promote. But I wouldn't actively grow your TikTok and your Instagram and your YouTube Shorts and your YouTube all at the same time. I would pick
Mommy, I
for
want this
LinkedIn.
out.
I would go all.
Mommy, I want this out.
Yeah, that's fine. You can like go all in, like let's say on LinkedIn, and really look at and grow that channel. But then maybe
I
you take like the big.
Please.
It's not lit, but if you want to, that's fine. But let's say you want to take like the big concept from LinkedIn and like do a YouTube long form. Then break that down into
Mommy,
short.
help me.
Woo, let's not have a lighter. You want to blow it out? Okay. And then
Me. I want to blow it.
okay, don't burn your face. So these are the cutout version. And so you the one channel, the one avatar, the one offer. You want to master the one before you add another. So then your sales system, every sales process works. Cold outreach, webinars, challenges, funnels, they all work. You just have to work it. The reason it hasn't worked is three halfway instead of one all the way. Be careful, Mark.
Only there.
So here are like the big sales processes. And I'll have Marquise kind of, maybe we'll do like a deep dive in the how on Friday, just so we can go. But I'll put them in here. So you have cold outreach to conversion. You reach out for DMs. Cold outreach to VSL funding. Content to inbound conversations.
Show me where you to go.
Okay, let me finish. I'm almost done. Content to inbound conversations. That's like your mini chat or your DM conversations, your lead magnets or stuff like that. Live event to offer a free challenge, masterclass, or webinar where you teach real value and make your offer at the end. That's one to many. You just unplugged my monitor. And then you have Evergreen. Evergreen is going to be like where you run ads into your product and you do that. VSL or webinar funnel. This is a recorded line that you are getting people into. Evergreen, you don't want to do evergreen until you have a proven system and then you're throwing like ads on it and then you're evergreening it. But a live in-person thing is going to convert better than any evergreen thing is. So, and it's just really hard to do evergreen when you don't have any data on a proven sales messaging. So those are the things. So I want you to pick what's your one sales process that you're going to do in Q3. That is super important. So that is the behind the scenes on the sales process. And I know you have like the podcast to like, so let's lock in your sales process. So that's like what you're going to do. And like, let's just put fuel on the fire. Again, it just goes into what actions can I do if I'm doing I'm going to run my business on a master class a week, which is what a lot of people suggest when you're starting, is to, like, if you follow Russell Brunson's like expert secrets, his whole thing is you have to run a webinar every single week for a year. But all right, I have a little ready to go to bed, baby. So I will see you guys all later. And if you guys want more things on sales processes and like, okay, if you're having DM conversations and now you're going to go to sales calls, if you want help with like, okay, how am I doing my whole pipeline and all of that? That is a Friday question and we will definitely reach on that. So I hope you all hopefully this was helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it a great way to describe build it? Was it good? Like,
Yeah.
I've been working on this, y'all. I've been working on this. I've been working on trying to really help the mindset, the stories we tell ourselves, reframing it and making it work. Because I want transformation and to help you keep unplugging my mind. All right. Well, I got to go. Miles, you want to say goodnight? Thank y'all for staying on with me.
Yeah. Good night, Miles.
I'm gonna press the button.
Bye. Bye.